Good morning, everybody. Okay, I'm going to try this. I have a new phone, so hopefully it won't kick me off. I don't think I've done a video like this yet. I had to let a customer go yesterday. No one ever wants to do this, and it was a very difficult situation. I tried to fix it a few months ago, but it didn't take effect. This customer that I had, I took her on over a year ago. I was doing some branding work for her, which was a small quarter size logo on all of her garments in her clothing line. About once a month, she would bring me a hefty load of items, and the terms of our contract were that, and it would need to be revised as her company grew and as her orders grew larger, but the terms were that you bring me your items and I have 5 days to complete them. There was a price break at 50 plus items, but for the majority of the part, we did stay hovering right above 50. So say around 80 items. But here in the past few months, those orders had started to grow in size, and her demands increased. As you all know, I work solo. I do have my daughter and a friend of hers do come over and help me from time to time. But my daughter works the job, so she's not always available. And she's only 15, and I'm begging her to do this. This is my thing. And I don't let them touch the embroidery machine. That's, for one thing, if it breaks, it's too much money for me to fix. And number two, it's too dangerous. At 15 years old, they're on their phone, you know. But the situation came up right before Christmas where this person was poor planning on her part was in turn becoming, I was supposed to be making an emergency on my part. She was signing up for these conferences to go and sell her items at and paying large lump sums of money, and I'm thinking when she's dropping her order off, then I was still going to have my 5 days to do it. That wasn't the case. I think her intention started out as that, but then she would brainstorm on her way over to deliver these. Thinking, okay, I've got this event coming up in a couple of days, so I need to rush Amanda. Now, granted, the times when she had dropped off in the past, luckily, I was at a point pretty much the majority of the time, I'd say up to about 6 months ago, where I could focus solely on her order. Well, as things progressed, I took on more businesses. And it got to the point where I couldn't focus solely on her. I was having to bounce from job to job to job, in which that's not a big deal as long as I had the 5 days to complete her order. But as I said, her demands grew and grew. Her poor planning was causing me a rush. She would bring items over, okay, and say out of 130 items, she was taking half of that. I need these by this weekend. And I'm telling her as we're sitting there having, I can't do it. I need the entire 5 days, the entire 5 business days. That was another thing. She counted Saturday as a business day. I'm only open half a day on Saturday, and that's mainly for drop-off and pickup, just to accommodate my customers that work throughout the week and make it difficult for them to get over after work or during the day during the week. So that morning is set aside for them. Well, she counted that as a business day, so she just assumed that I was working on her stuff on the weekends. Now, I know what my deadline is, and I've never missed one yet, and I don't plan on starting on that. So if I knew my deadline was fastly approaching and I needed to work on the weekends, of course, any one of us are going to do that. So, but that was none of her business whether or not I was working on Saturday and Sunday. All she needed to know was I needed 5 business days. Well, long story short, she started disrespecting, for one, my hours. She disrespected text messages. I close at 7, but I'm getting text messages from her, later in the night on the days that I'm closed. So she's disrespecting the timeline that we had set aside in our contract. And then she developed a problem where, okay, she knew based on how many items she brought me what the fee was going to be. And she would never bring cash with her or check to pay when she dropped off. So I would count the items after she left, send her an invoice expecting her to pay, and we agreed upon she could make a 50% deposit. Well, as time grew on, that became a problem with her. She didn't want to pay. I don't know about you all, but I got to the point where I said, I can no longer eat these credit card fees or these PayPal fees. So I started adding whatever your total of your invoice is, I add 3.9% to your total. That covers the fees. I offer credit card services as a convenience to my customers, but if it's going to start to cost me, then it's not a convenience to me. And that means I had to implement that fee. So, long story short, I had, she dropped Monday, this past Monday, and as you can tell behind me, this is substantially lessened since Monday, but it's still a lot of jobs going on. I knew what my deadline was. I knew I still had to finish all the other paid orders behind me here. So I explained to her, I will have your order ready on time, but as far as the items being ready before that, it's not going to happen. I need all of my time to complete your order and still accommodate my other customers. Well, it didn't click. And this has happened a few times. Like I said, I talked to her a few months ago about this and it just didn't click. But here comes the point where I'm saying, at some point, you're going to have to let a customer go. It's a difficult situation because if you're like me, not only do I have a professional relationship with my customers, but I like them to feel like family. So since I'm a home-based business, I like people to feel like they can come over here, within my business hours, but still feel comfortable with me and being in my home. So you develop relationship and, a type of friendship, and you don't want to ruin that. But then again, you expect your customers to respect you as well, to return that courtesy. And this is the first time this has happened to me. Now I've had vendors that I, had to put my foot down and no longer work with, but this is the first customer that I have ever had this happen. Morning, Sheila. So yesterday I had to sit down and have a come to Jesus meeting with myself. Determine whether or not I was going to continue to be able to accommodate all of her demands and still meet my deadlines for other customers. And after some soul searching, I could come to the conclusion that no, it wasn't going to work out because, and I even told her, okay, you're growing. Maybe we need to think about the fact, and I did explain to her, we had went over this early in the contract. As you grow, then my time is going to need to increase. Just as like maybe in the future, my fees are going to need to increase over time because, demand from her customers. But that went, and I watched her as I told her that, and it just went one ear and out the other. She's not a hateful person. She's not, she's not a gruff person, but the word no, it doesn't click in her head. So I sat down and I wanted to be professional about it, and I think I went about it the best way that I possibly could. So I didn't want to leave her in the lurch. I didn't want to leave her with no other option for embroidery. So I reached out to some friends of mine, asked them if, and I explained thoroughly what had happened. There was no, I didn't want them to be in the dark about the situation or how she handles things. So I told them everything. And after that, they were both still willing to take her on as a customer, and that's great. So I sat down and typed a lengthy, email, because I wanted it in writing. This is not a conversation that needed to happen over the phone. It needed to be in writing. Explained to her that I was canceling her contract, effective immediately. I have found her, and of course I worded this more eloquently, but explained to her in that email that we weren't going to continue to do business together, based solely on the fact that every time an order is dropped off, my timeline seems to get shorter and shorter and shorter because she has so many demands that she's having to meet. It would be like scenarios, well, I have this customer or this team that needs their order 2 days from now, when I'm supposed to have 5 business days, but they need theirs 2 days from now. And instead of telling her customers, well, I have to allow my embroidery person 5 days because I have a contract with her that I have to honor. No, those demands from her customers were being passed along to me, as if these customers were dictating how I ran my business. She wasn't putting a kibosh on that. So I explained to her, at this time, I don't feel like it would be a good idea for us to continue because I'm not going to be able to meet your demands. And, you are going to have to say from time to time, you're going to have to come to the realization, can I continue to do this? Can I continue to meet her demands? Can I continue to put up with, for lack of better, the drama, the chaos? And the answer for me was no. And you maybe have a stronger backbone than I do, but I've taken on several county contracts. I've taken on several other businesses that thus far do not have a problem with abiding by my turnaround times, my prices, my payment policies. They have no problem with that. So you just kind of have to evaluate your customer relationships and determine whether or not this is a good thing for you. And after a year and a half, I made the decision this wasn't a good thing for me anymore. I had a pit in my stomach from the time she dropped off Monday. And that's another thing. She's never on time. She was never on time. If she said she was going to be here she would always ask, what is the latest I can drop off? Well, I close at 7. Because at 7, or at least by 6:30, I want to have my dinner started upstairs. Everybody's coming home. We want to be settled in so we can start winding down for the night, getting ready for the next day, having a good meal together, sitting down chatting with each other, see how your day went. I don't want customers over here at 8, 9 o'clock. And she's attempted to do that before. But I know if she says 6:30, that's going to interpret into 7:30. So from the time she dropped off, and by the way, when she drops off late like that, she counts that as the day that I'm supposed to be working. No. If you drop off close to closing, like she usually does between 6 and 6:30, and I close at 7, she expects that I should start on her order as soon as it hits my table. That's not the case. My day has already ended, pretty much. So, but like I said, I had a pit in my stomach from the time she dropped off, and it had been that way for the past few months. So I know that it was becoming an issue. So don't feel like that you have to continue with these negative customers in your business. You don't. There's a way to professionally handle these things Now, granted, she came back this morning with the email after she'd had time to sit and ponder on it, and told me I was unethical. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. I felt like I handled it the only way I could possibly handle it. Because I had to turn a couple of customers away because I knew her order was coming in and I knew there was going to be delays. And that's not right. It's not. But I tell you, once I sent that email yesterday and got confirmation that she understood, a weight lifted off of me. And it felt so nice. So nice. But don't feel like you have to hang on to them, you know, because one, they've been there with you. Because this lady really hadn't been there with me. You know, your situation may be different. But don't feel like, oh, they've been with me so long, I have to hang on to it. If they're not respecting your business, then they're not helping you grow. They're holding you back. But there is a proper way to handle this. You handle it in the most professional way you want because you don't want the backlash of negative reviews. If most of you advertise on Facebook like I do, then you understand. Once those bad reviews get on your business page, they're there forever. They're there forever. But just handle it in the best way that you know how. But don't feel like you have to hold on to them. And I'm telling you, it's a difficult thing to end a business relationship, because there's emotions involved, but there's not. It's not like cutting off the relationship with a friend or family member. It's different. So they feel like they can just come back at you any way you want. Now, the email she sent me this morning, I went to respond, but then I said, there's nothing. Based on reading her email, there's nothing that I could possibly say to her in return that would be professional or kind. So just left it alone. Just leave it. Just move on. But I feel like I'm in a good spot moving forward. I have a lot of great customers still that I cherish each and every one of her, and I cherished her as well. But the feeling wasn't, it wasn't returned. It wasn't mutual. So, and it was not just that, you know, not just disrespecting the policies. It wasn't disrespecting the contract. She disrespected me a few times as well, but that was personal, so I had to set that aside. So, but don't hold on to that negativity. If it's dragging you down and you don't feel like that you're at your 100% best, let it go. Like the song goes, let it go. And you don't want me to sing for you. Got some new things coming up. And I'm pretty excited. And I know I owe you guys a part 2 of the ink transfer video. And I will get that out as soon as I possibly can. I just need somebody to help me with that video. My husband works longer hours now. And bless his heart, he shakes so bad that you guys would be here. Like, it would be like that. And my daughter is now a full-time paid employee. Where she was a volunteer at her stable. She's now a full-time employee. Yay, kiddo. So she's making her own money at 15 years old. Not too many kids can say that nowadays, but I'm very proud of her. Me and her dad are very proud. The next new thing we've got coming up is I've ordered automotive wrapping vinyl film. I ordered from a company in Canada. I ordered it week before last. So I'm sure it had to go through customs in New York, but I'm hoping it's going to be well worth the wait. I'm hoping it arrives today. I'm hoping so. With this vinyl wrap film, okay, just to get things straight, I am not trying to wrap a vehicle right off the bat. I do want to start with some small items. You can wrap tumblers with this stuff. You can wrap small items. I've seen a lot. I would like to start out wrapping some vehicle emblems or badges, whichever you call them. I'd like to start off some small stuff like that and start with some cups. I mean, eventually I would love to grow into full-on wrap vehicles, but that's kind of it's not really a two-person job, but I would feel more comfortable if you got two people hands-on with this thing. If you want to know more of what I'm talking about here, go to CK Wraps here on YouTube. He uses mainly only Vivid products. And that's what sold me. Here's the thing with vinyl. And he touches on this in one of his videos. You can order this wrap vinyl from China. But when it comes to sticking it on something like people's vehicles, and this is supposed to be removed eventually at some point. You're supposed to have the capability to remove it at some point. He was saying that the adhesive that was used on this China vinyl was removing paint from people's vehicles. And I can't afford to have somebody's car repainted. No. So it took me a while to decipher, okay, what type of vinyl do I order for this? Okay, decal vinyl or sign vinyl, we call it 3 different names: decal, sign, and outdoor vinyl. That's a calendared vinyl. While there is a little bit of stretch in it, there's not as much stretch in it as the wrap vinyl. They call it a channeled vinyl, or what's another name for it, or film. When you apply a small amount of heat to this vinyl, it has an unbelievable amount of stretch. He does explain to you it can be stretched too far where it leaves the film. You can see the stretch lines in it. But we're going to attempt to try this on, I have quite a few friends and neighbors that are in the racing community. Some race go-karts, some race stock cars, some race dirt track. That's what got all this started. They pay thousands of dollars to have their race cars wrapped, based on the racing guidelines. But we're going to start out with something small. It was brought to I was asked if I could take the current vinyl that I have and wrap a helmet. Well, unfortunately, I mean, I can put decals on it all day long, but as far as to stretch it, you know, to accommodate the roundness of it, that vinyl wasn't going to work. Of course, it'll snap. So that's how all of this got started. So I have a friend that has a blank helmet, flat black helmet, and we're going to attempt to wrap this. And just for giggles, I will probably do a video on this. It should be hysterical. But we're going to give that a try. And I told you I do have some other stuff I'm working on, like the epoxy sealed acrylic keychains. I've got to get back on that. But here's the thing. Epoxy is so finicky and it's so cold out in the garage. It's difficult to work with that epoxy. There's a lot of air bubbles in it because, you know, the temperature has to be just right. I do believe it's around 65, 70 degrees. This is what it's supposed to be. When it starts getting too hot or too cold, it starts messing with the consistency of the epoxy. So that's probably going to be something that we have to do during the late spring, summer months. But I've still got to do something with that because I've got this whole cart of stuff sitting out there. My husband's going to get ticked eventually. But once again, don't feel like you have to hold on to negative customers. I sat and talked with my husband with it. We probably didn't agree with me at the begin with, and I wasn't trying to, or maybe I was. I was trying to make him understand what was going on. He could only see the money in it. And granted, I was not making a lot of money off this woman. Not like you would think. I mean, roughly $1 a piece at 100 items. So I was making, I don't think I ever went over $150. Ever. After all the trouble, never probably went over $150. So And I don't like to talk about prices on here, so that's enough on that. But I know he was looking at the financial aspect of it because, you know, I've been in business 3 years, but I'm still growing every day. Like I said, if I went off the amount of time that I worked on these outfits, yeah, I probably would have been making a killing, but it didn't work that way. So just don't feel like you have to hold on that negativity. And I will get that ink transfer video out as soon as I have someone to help me. It will probably be one of those Sunday evening videos where everybody's at home and hopefully my daughter won't have to work and she can help me with the camera angles, because it's a lot of moving around and I don't want to make everybody seasick. And then as soon as that wrap vinyl comes in, I will probably at least do one video before we actually apply it to anything of unboxing it and show you what it looks like. And you're talking about some beautiful, vibrant colors. It's just gorgeous. And Vivid also offers, now I will tell you, wrap vinyl is kind of expensive. It's for a foot by 5 foot, you're looking just at a solid color. A solid gloss color is $9. So it's kind of high. I'd rank it up there with printed vinyl cost-wise. But you do get a good bit. But they do offer, so if you want to try it, they offer some $5 rolls. Now, there's not many colors to choose from, but you get a good variety. And if you get into like the holographics, metallics, what are some other ones? Not the neons. What were some other? Like glitter reflex. It can, for that 5 yards, you're looking at least $16. At least. Now, if you're looking to wrap a whole card, oh my word, $2,300 per roll. That's another reason I'm not doing it right now. So, look forward to those videos. I've got to get some designs knocked out here. And we will chat again soon. And I hope you have a wonderful Thursday. Only one day left till Friday. Payday for some. Not for me. But it does get me closer to the weekend and spending time with my family. And I hope the same for you. So let me know if you have any questions about what we talked about today. And remember to like and subscribe, please. And remember to hit that notification bell beside the subscribe button. And hopefully, as time goes along, I do have an intro designed. I just got to figure out how to put 2 and 2 together. But just shoot me a message if you have any questions. If you don't want to leave a comment down below, and I'd be glad to chat with you. So, have a great day. And Amanda is out.